Does Spotify pay musicians $3 for every 1,000 streams of their song? Well, I see this number being thrown around online a lot, and since my first song Metamorphic recently hit 1,000 streams, I thought this would be a great opportunity to test that out. In this video, I'm going to be going over how Spotify pays artists, how much money I make from streaming, and their changes for 2024. Contrary to what a lot of people believe, Spotify doesn't actually pay a fixed price per stream. What Spotify does is they take all the money they make from ads and premium subscriptions and distribute that across all labels and artists on the platform. The two things that determine that distribution are the number of streams and where those streams came from. Different countries have different currencies and different relations between the average income and the costs of living. So the price for a Spotify premium subscription varies from country to country. This means that streams from India or Pakistan pay a lot less than streams from the UK or Denmark. Spotify distributes the money they get from a specific location across all artists and labels on the platform based on the amount of streams they get on that location. For example, in August, 141 streams from the US got me 36 cents, while 155 streams from Brazil only made me 18 cents. Speaking of which, if you don't know who I am, which you probably don't, my name is Rafael, and as Road to Pandora, I make alternative, sometimes progressive metal music. I uploaded my first song to Spotify on July 7th, around 5 months ago. Since then, I've released 2 more songs, but I'm not gonna consider their earnings for this discussion. Spotify reports revenue 2 months late, so at the time I'm making this video, I only have access to earnings from July to September. During that time, for 980 streams, I got paid $1.70. I made it, Mom. Yeah, so not even close to the $3. That sucks, but would you believe me if I told you it's only gonna get worse? In November, Spotify announced that they will no longer be paying artists for streaming a specific song until that song reaches 1,000 streams within a period of 12 months. This means that small artists like me will no longer get paid for most, if not all, of their work. Even though Spotify is making money off their music being in their platform, even if it's just a little bit. So in my case, I wouldn't even have gotten the $1.70 because they would only start to pay me after I hit the 1,000 streams. So if right now I have around 1,200 streams, I would have gotten paid for only 200 streams. Now listen, is that going to affect me in any major way? Not really. It's not like that $1 every 3 months or so makes any huge difference in my life. Can we take a second to acknowledge how insane it is that they can just do that? They can just decide not to pay people anymore and it's fine? They get no repercussions? Like, what the fuck? But if you paid attention to my explanation of how Spotify's royalty system works, you might be thinking to yourself, why would Spotify do this? As far as we know, the amount of money distributed to the artists itself is not going to change, so Spotify wouldn't really be making any more money off this. They even said so in their post announcing this change. So let's investigate Spotify's reason for making this decision. Since the royalty payouts are being shared amongst fewer people, those payouts should theoretically be larger. To quote their blog post, Spotify will not make additional money under this model. There is no change to the size of the music royalty pool being paid out to rights holders from Spotify. We'll simply use the tens of millions of dollars annually to increase the payments to all eligible tracks, rather than spreading it out into 3-cent payments. So to illustrate, if you share a pie amongst fewer people, everyone gets more pie, right? Wait, is that welfare distribution? Is Spotify actually a Marxist plan in the music industry? Are they actually concerned with allowing people to make a living off their music, and therefore supporting the next generation of artists to revolutionize the music scene? Fuck no. If that were the case, they would distribute that money amongst all artists equally, or better yet, amongst all artists that don't make enough to survive. The problem is that this redistribution is proportional to streaming numbers. So if you're a label representing the biggest artists on the planet, you're gonna get a noticeably bigger piece of the pie. But if you're a small indie artist, you're gonna get a few extra breadcrumbs maybe, or nothing at all. And this is what this whole thing is about, making money for the major labels. So while Spotify might technically not make any extra money off this change, their shareholders sure do. Let's keep reading, shall we? It's more impactful for these tens of millions of dollars per year to increase payments to those most dependent on the streaming revenue, rather than being spread out in tiny payments that typically don't even reach an artist, as they do not surpass distributors' minimum payout thresholds. I find this reasoning quite insulting, actually, because it's simply not true. So in case you don't know, people like you and me can't actually release songs to Spotify directly. We need a distributor like DistroKid or CD Baby to do it for us. So Spotify payments don't go to artists directly, they go to the distributor, which then passes them on to the artists. DistroKid, which is the one I use, has a minimum payout of $5. This means that you cannot collect your money until it reaches $5. But they don't take your money and leave. It stays on your account until you have enough so you can collect it. It doesn't like disappear or something. This even includes payments of small fractions, which are less than a cent. It all adds up. So even if it takes you a few months of gathering royalties to actually be able to get your money, eventually you're gonna get it. It's not going to waste like Spotify is saying. I'm having a really hard time ending this video because I want to point to a solution or at least a satisfying conclusion, but I don't think there is one. Should you cancel your Spotify subscription? Sure, if you want to. If you want to change to a different streaming service to better support the musicians you enjoy, that's great. But you don't really have to if you don't want to. It's not your fault as a consumer that this is happening. There is no such thing as ethical consumption under capitalism. Back in November, when Spotify announced these changes to the royalty system, I saw a lot of fellow artists saying that they're going to take their music down from Spotify. We all know you're not going to do that. Spotify doesn't give a shit about you. If you were to take your music down from the platform, they would prefer it because they wouldn't have to pay you anymore. They don't care. They truly don't care. The only thing it would accomplish is killing any chance of people ever finding your music. As small artists, you cannot afford to take your music down from the most popular platform. So yeah, we're basically left just working for exposure, I guess. The sad truth is that no single musician can make a difference, even the biggest in the world. Hell, if Taylor fucking Swift can't change anything, no one can. If 2023's writers and actors strikes taught us anything, is that the only way to make a positive change in the entertainment industry is through collective action. But sadly, that's easier said than done. The major labels, the ones who profit off services like Spotify, would never allow their artists to, for instance, take their music down from all streaming services, which I guess would be the 21st century's musician equivalent to striking. So yeah, everything's fucked and it's only gonna get worse. Spotify treats musicians like garbage. They always have and they always will. The only thing that changes is their efforts into making people think they actually care. Thank you for watching.